The main protagonist of this story is Yang Shi. Despite his nerdy look, he has the most broken ability in the whole world that lets him steal other people's skills, mutate them, and make them 100 times more powerful and effective. But despite being so overpowered, he always chose to hide his abilities so that he can live a normal life in the society. But everything changes when one day, in a convenience store, a young girl's peaceful moment is shattered by a sudden explosion, leaving her frozen and unconscious. Yang Shi stands beside his sister's hospital bed, the same girl from earlier, gazing at her lying unconscious on the bed. He proceeds to talk to her like a psycho, even though he is well aware that she can't hear him, asking her why she always has to go against him. He finds her so uninteresting now, as she doesn't even give a single reaction, even though he is trying to bully her. He goes ahead to reveal that he has been hiding his own ability from her, and contrary to her assumption, she actually isn't the only one in the family with a special gift. While her ability allows her to fly, his power enables him to steal abilities from others, absorbing them as his own. He then proceeds to extract from her a marble-like object, and reveals that he can only steal people's abilities by physical touch. And after the marble fully forms in the air, an impromptu message from the system pops up showing that he has stolen her ability, and also reveals that the ability is a D-rank skill called Mental Blast that grants the user the power to send mental blasts that attack targets. Now, it's a pretty weak ability, but since it is also his sister's, it holds special meaning to him. As he observes the marble ball, he thinks to himself that if the ability were stronger, then his sister wouldn't have been turned into an ice sculpture that easily from a so-called accidental attack from Li Kanyang. He is really starting to doubt that it was an accidental attack at all to begin with. Meanwhile, a lawyer is trying to convince his parents that the incident was just a mere unfortunate coincidence, and then defends the hero that was behind it. He then offers them money as compensation for the harm caused to their daughter, quoting it as an accident. The father is extremely upset and refuses to sign the document that will signify that he has accepted this as an accident for some stinking money, and his wife is in an even more depressed state, crying a bucket. Their son, Yang Shi, steps in and offers the document to sign, and that pisses his dad off, so he yells at him for trying to sell his own sister for money, but then Yang Shi reminds him the only way to keep his sister alive is to get her the supplements she needs, and for that they need the money. Seeing his point, his dad is left speechless. Yang Shi agrees to sign the document, but also has his own condition to add to the deal, which the lawyer is willing to hear out. He requests that the hero that harmed his sister, Bing Chuanyong, come and apologize to him and his family face-to-face as part of the contract. But the lawyer would rather apologize on his behalf, and even adds an official apology from the company as a bonus. But Yang Shi wants an apology from the hero himself. The lawyer explains that Bing Chuanyong would love to apologize, but he is too busy fighting crime, so he can't make it here personally. But the representative promises to add an extra 100,000 to the already agreed compensation amount, and that's enough to sell Yang Shi, so he lets out a grin and immediately accepts the offer, then returns an already signed document to the man. On the roadside, the lawyer is on the phone discussing with a shady-looking character, and he informs the man that he had to add an extra 100,000 to get the family off his back. But the man over the phone is not even bothered by the extra expenses and thanks him for his hard work, then ends the call. The lawyer is so jealous of how heroes get away with things like this with money, and wishes he awakened an ability just like them. Back at the hospital, Yang Shi continues talking to his unconscious sister, begging her not to be angry that he signed the documents, especially considering their family's broke condition. He then promises her to thoroughly inspect this case, as he is very sure now that it definitely wasn't an accident. And he believes that there are some awakeners in this world that are not fit to be heroes, so he is determined to change that. A beautiful city named Mingyue Society is where Yang Shi has decided to stay to fulfill his promise to his sister, and there he rents out a room, but then he encounters roommates who are apparently all girls. They begin to introduce themselves to Yang Shi as he walks into the living room. The bright brown-haired girl begins by saying her name is Dinglan, and also says the girl sitting is Xiao Ai. She also adds that they have another roommate who hasn't returned from the day's work. She then proceeds to ask him his name, which he answers without hesitation or much expression for that matter. Dinglan then offers that they throw a party to celebrate, because it is rare to have a new roommate, but Xiao Ai declines, saying that her third-year exam is starting soon, and supposedly she will visit the library tonight, but encourages them to throw the party without her anyway. But Yang Shi also turns down the offer, saying he is very tired and just wants to rest, and they are both left utterly speechless by his rudeness. He gets into his room and immediately makes himself at home. As check his phone, he realizes that the videos of heroes fighting monsters are very popular, and there are also ability explanation videos as well. He really doesn't know how it started, the black cavity, but once it came, monsters suddenly started appearing on their planet, the Azure planet, and wreaking havoc on humans. The only people that can stand between regular humans and monsters are hunters that have abilities, and those hunters are given the title of hero. To prevent hunters from misusing their abilities, a law was created known as the Ability Law that allows only hunters who passed the test and got a hero certificate to use their abilities. He then proceeds to rewatch what happened to Fei Fei, his sister, and how she got injured. After watching the video a couple of times, he finds nothing suspicious and decides to research it more the very next day. Not long after, he decides to catch some quick Z's, and he wakes up to find out that it's already very early the next morning. He rushes up to rinse his mouth and wash up, remembering well that he has work later in the morning. As he makes his way to the washroom, he sees an unfamiliar face staggering around the washroom area, obviously showing signs of having more alcohol than she can handle. Yang Shi realizes that the beautiful drunk stranger is actually the last roommate Ding Lan was talking about earlier. He tries to continue to the bathroom, but she stops him in his tracks, wanting to use it first, and then proceeds to barf a whole mountain in the toilet. Yang Shi is so concerned about her, asking if she is okay and thinking of helping, but he then again doesn't want the other roommates or even the stranger to misunderstand his intentions, like in those dumb animes, so he has the bright idea to call Ding Lan to assist her instead since they are both women. But with a dazed eye and a sleep-punctured face, Dang Ling tells Yang Shi to go to bed because apparently it is not the first time she came home like this, and that it is late. Moreover, Dang Ling also has work tomorrow and couldn't really be bothered much about the drunk girl, so she advises Yang Shi to go to bed and shuts the door almost instantly. This ultimately leaves him with no choice but to help the stranger. He tries to get her to stand up on her own, but she doesn't respond, so he apologizes to her in advance and proceeds to take matters into his own hands, literally. He then picks her up from the floor, which is quite manly, like a groom carrying his bride. And as he is about to place her on the couch, his ability detects a F-rank ability within her. This ability is called Big Brain, a F-rank skill that gives the brain a power boost for a short time, increasing both thinking and calculating speed. The system also informs him that the owner doesn't even know she has such an ability, and categorizes it as an ability with normal potential. As he stares at the unconscious girl, unpervertedly of course, he realizes that she might think she is very smart sometimes, and if she studied well she could very well be a smarty pants in school, but then he takes her ability anyway and promises to pay her back someday in the future. He then has a very mischievous thought of combining two skills, the big brain and the mental blast, and is overwhelmed by the infinite possibilities of this combination if made possible. As he gets back into his room, he immediately proceeds to attempt fusing the two skills. The system recognizes the skills as mental spirit abilities and asks him if he wishes to fuse them both. Immediately he confirms the request. A blue and red sphere combine like Gojo's Hollow Domain expansion to form a golden sphere, which is now a new D-rank ability called Superbrain. This has the ability to boost the brain when Mental Blast is used, and also increase thinking and calculating speed as well as the ability of deduction. Yang Shi then thinks to himself that maybe now with the new skill he could use it to spot if something was odd about the Fei Fei injury video, and find some evidence. The next morning his door is being lightly banged on, so he sluggishly gets up to open the door to find a familiar face standing in front of him. It is the girl he helped last night, and he is a little surprised, but the girl breaks the ice by thanking him for what he did for her last night, and introduces herself as Lin Nai Xue. Then she returns his brown coat, which he apparently used to cover her up the night before. He is taken back by how a hardcore alcoholic girl can look so pure. He tells her he did what he felt was right as a man, and also introduces himself. As he thinks of ending the conversation, he remembers he took her ability, even though she didn't know she had it, but out of concern he asks her if she is feeling any discomfort anywhere. Lin Nai Xue reassures him, saying she is already used to it and that Yang Shi shouldn't worry about her, so that is a relief. A fat, chubby guy waltzes into the room, surprised that our MC actually lives here. Then he spots Lin Nai Xue and Yang Shi talking casually and immediately assumes that they're dating, which is just dumb. Yang Shi tells him to stop spouting nonsense in his arrogance and says that she is just his roommate. He stutters a little, then thinks to himself that he is too rich and it is bad to rent a whole building, but that doesn't stop him from trying to rizz her up though. He prepares himself and shoots his shot at Miss Lin Nai Xue, introducing himself as Fan Ping, Yang Shi's colleague. She shakes his outstretched hand and also introduces herself to him. He then begins to brag about his ability, which is single-hand photo-taking and photography, and offers to take beautiful pictures of her if she wants. Yang Shi proceeds to see him out, as he explains that Fan Peng came to pick him up for the company before the dude embarrasses him any further. but he laments that he isn't done talking to Miss Lin Naixue yet. At an organization called Dear Kang Newspaper, Yang Shi is watching the video of Fei Fei's accident again, but this time with his new ability. The system recognizes Superbrain being activated and reveals that deduction has begun. His eyes are now way different from when he didn't have the ability. He begins to scan multiple angles and scenarios of the event until he spots something weird with the movement. Meanwhile, Fan Ping begins to yap about Lin Naixue and asks him why he isn't taking the initiative, pointing out that Lin Naixue is actually quite the looker, being a pretty and high-grade girl. He taunts Yang Shi that he will take her if he keeps acting nonchalant, but Yang Shi shows no interest in that kind of relationship and affirms that they are just roommates, so he shouldn't overthink it. But Fan Ping is very persistent. He believes that that is how one becomes passionate friends. Just then they are interrupted by a shout from outside the building announcing there is a monster, and not only that, a monster with an ability. A freaky single-eyed jellyfish appeared out of nowhere, and panic ensues naturally, with everyone in the vicinity running for their lives. An automated voice fully confirms the existence of this monster in the city, and the rank of this colossal monster is B rank. The automated voice also tells the citizens to head towards the shelter and tells heroes to head out to defeat this calamity. As mayhem befalls the city from the shadows, and a hero emerges from the dust in a red and yellow suit with a bold sign on his chest saying, "Sour Spice." This character begins to tell the citizens not to worry, as he is here to save them and the city. One of the citizens recognizes him immediately and is relieved that Sour Spicy is fortunately a B-rank hero who here to save them. From the Dear Kang newspaper building, Fan Ping is watching the entire scene unfold, using his ability to get a clear shot of the scenery. He discovers that not only does the one-eyed jellyfish have high defense, it also has a disgustingly strong combat ability, so he reckons that there might just be a slim chance that Sour Spicy will lose due to its combination attacks. He then looks around the room to find out that Yang Shi is no longer in the room with him anymore, so he assumes that he must have hurried over to the shelter for safety. Fan Ping then lets out a chuckle, reasoning that normal humans are slightly weaker, so they run. But this is his time to make quick money with his ability. The fight progresses further as a beautiful lady dressed in a red and black dress with a fiery aura in the shape of a butterfly appears, offering to help Sour Spicy. This lady is known as the hero Flame Butterfly, and she is a C rank. Sour Spicy accepts the offer, praising her for her impeccable timing, and decides that he will subdue it while she focuses on attacking, a plan she very much agrees to. In a room called the Hero Streaming Room, two men are commenting on the battle, and Instructor Ju is being interviewed by Mao Huang on live television. Instructor Ju praises Sour Spicy for his ability, which is close-range combat, and reveals that when he first started as a hero, he was very arrogant. Mao Huang is surprised that he would rate him this way, but Instructor Ju continues to reveal that after Sour Spice activates his ability, he needs time to eat a bowl of sour, spicy noodles, so he usually waits for other heroes to deal large damage to the monster first, then swoops in for the final hit to end the monster and take the credit. Mao Huang is very surprised that Instructor Ju knows so much information, and Instructor Ju, regretting revealing too much, lets out a light cough and suggests that they continue to watch the live stream. Sour Spicy slams the monster into the ground, leaving it deformed. Then Flame Butterfly advises Sour Spicy to dodge as she releases her flame ability onto the monster, the 1000 Butterfly Splash. Mao Huang is glad that the monster's HP is low, and they are about to win, but Instructor Ju is not so sure about that. When Mao Huang asks why, he reveals that these kinds of monsters are intelligent, and that he doesn't see any sign of nervousness from it, which is bad. As the fire clears up, the jellyfish comes out unscathed. Sour Spicy realizes that the jellyfish has mutated and is now resistant to flame, so Flame Butterfly asks Sour Spicy if he can hold down the monster a bit longer so as to give enough time for other heroes to reach this location. In a flashback, Sour Spicy talked to a mysterious old man who revealed to him that he had reached his growing peak and informed him that if he wants to break through and become the star of the company, he can't be defeated not even once. Remembering this, he is determined not to let his popularity drop, because then the company will just simply replace him with much younger heroes instead. Then Yang Shi, who is secretly observing the fight from a closer proximity, sees him put something into his mouth, a blue pill. He immediately realizes that he had seen something like that before, but can't remember where. Just then, Flame Butterfly is caught in the tentacles of the monster and begs Sour Spicy to save her. Flame Butterfly is caught, and she is not only fighting for her life, but also begging Sour Spicy to save her, because she does not want to die. A super fast attack bursts through the tentacle holding Flame Butterfly, and it comes from none other than Sour Spicy, who saves the damsel in distress, and his eyes are bright blue now, looking quite inhuman. Mao Huang is pleasantly surprised, explaining that Sour Spicy's ability can only last 15 minutes, but now he has surpassed even that, which means that he is much stronger than before, and so he lets out a cheer. Inspector Zhe, on the other hand, still acting cheesy, admits it was unexpected but as he predicted. Mao Huang gives commentary saying that the monster has attacked Sour Spicy, and indeed it does, but Sour Spicy waves off the attack like it is nothing, saying only this strong. He then proceeds to let out his battle chant, his final attack so to speak. Sour Spicy bursts and ends the monster in a single blow. He stands tall as his aura flares for a few seconds, then regurgitates blood and falls onto the ground. Flame Butterfly comes over to help him, but the cold death blue-eyed stare scares her a little, though she persists on and proceeds to help. Sour Spicy then suppresses the urges of the drug on him and lets out a very bright smile, assuring her and saying that he just used too much strength, that is all. Flame Butterfly lets out a sigh of relief, having been scared for a minute there. After the monster is defeated, all the surviving citizens come out to greet them and give their thanks for their hard work. Yang Shi is about to leave considering the fight is over and intends to go back to consolidate information. He is also surprised about the blue pill medicine, which is something he definitely didn't expect to exist. As he is about to leave, the corpse of the monster sprouts up a clone, and this clone instinctively charges at Yang Shi by flight. Yang Shi acknowledges that its physical and magic defense is high, but its mental resistance should be low, so he stands his ground. The clone speaks, saying that once he gets a host and revives to full strength, he will be back for his revenge on Sour Spicy. As he is flying, he notices Yang Shi in the corner and sees him as a human with a good smell and decides to make him its host. Yang Shi lets out a smirk, glad that it saved him a bunch of time and energy, as he intends to collect his ability. He proceeds to blast it with a mental spirit blast, and as he does, that Flame Butterfly senses that someone is using an ability somewhere close. Yang Shi is holding the vegetative state of the clone, admitting that he is lucky the monster has been weakened. If not, even his D-rank Superbrain and his D-rank mental spirit blast would not have done squat to it. Almost instantly, the system recognizes that he has stolen an ability, and the ability he got is called Flame Resistant Shield, a B-rank ability that grants the user immunity to flames lower than B-rank, and also increases resistance against physical attacks. It also has the potential of being a very useful tank skill. Yang Shi is impressed as he now has an unseen barrier around him. As he observes his new ability, he knows that the strongest ability always has a weakness, and this fact spread around in the hero world is ineffective for him, so to speak. Flame Butterfly is now looking around the corner where Yang Shi is, flying and scouting the area, and Yang Shi doesn't want to be discovered, so he hides from her sight. Flame Butterfly could have sworn that she felt someone use mental blast around that corner, and as she continues to scout keenly, someone speaks from the shadow, asking if she is looking for him, and she replies with another question, asking if he is the one who used the mental blast just now. A figure in the shadow comes out into the light, a man with a black cloak and a bird mask, and confirms her suspicion, admitting that it was indeed him. Flame Butterfly asks if he is a hero since she has not seen him before, and the strange character does not lie. He admits that he is not a hero, but just a random passerby that decided to help them finish up, and then he throws the clone to the floor to prove it to her. She is surprised not only about the jellyfish clone, but also that he was able to defeat such a high-ranking monster by himself. She squashes the thought, reminding herself that he is not a hero and has no right to use his abilities without permission. Yang Shi is about to walk by her, but she blocks his path, informing him that he illegally used his abilities, so he must follow her back to the Hero Association and get inspected. Yang Shi is pissed by this development and asks her if she really thinks that she can stop him. She releases her fiery aura to let him know that she could punish him for breaking the rules and regulations in mere seconds. But Yang Shi, who is the guy in the mask, then pinches into her flame, disappointed that this is how a hero treats a normal person, then uses his hand to completely extinguish it. He then asks her if it is now his turn to attack, and she is utterly freaked out by this and flies away begging for her life, which would make it the second time just today. Yang Shi realizes that Sour Spicy's blue medicine, or rather drug, is the same that Bing Chuan Yang also takes. He then takes off the mask and concludes that this matter requires more investigation. Yang Shi boards a train in the Lugang subway, where he decides that he should give up stealing abilities for a while so he can fully understand this Superbrain ability. He also needs to consolidate information he found on the new drug. A stranger passes in front of Yang Shi weirdly, but he thinks nothing of it until he looks around to see his bag is gone, and immediately realizes that he had just been robbed. He also ponders on the fact, and the worst part of it all could be that his crow set is inside. He begins to suspect the stranger that just passed by him, but he looks around and cannot find him. He is surprised that he can't find him, especially since he hasn't even reached the station yet, so he has no idea quickly. He wonders if the thief has some sort of stealth ability, but then he also can't sense his smell either. Yang Shi uses his ability Superbrain's enhanced senses and finds out that he can smell the bag on a stranger, but this person is wearing totally different clothes from the one that passed him. That is when he understands that this is not stealth, but instant transformation. He then grins and is happy at the new ability he is going to get, a free ability that should be useful to him. On the street, the stranger that stole Yang Shi's bag is rejoicing that today's reward is also big. Then he feels a cold shiver down his spine like a scary aura is behind him. He looks back to see a deviously smiling Yang Shi, and he is shocked, not being able to fathom how and when our MC found out about him and started following him. Without a moment of hesitation, he makes a run for it, and curses the day, calling it a failure. Yang Shi yells, telling him not to run away and to stop, but that doesn't really do much to actually stop the thief. He runs into a public restroom, and Yang Shi follows him, hitting the door open, beseeching him not to play hide-and-seek with him and to come out. He checks the male bathroom and cannot find him, so he suspects that the thief had entered the female bathroom, and he is appalled by the thought, disgusted that a man would be so scared that he'd hide in a female bathroom. Yang Shi proceeds to enter the ladies' bathroom and tells him to come out, knowing fully well that he is in there. A woman's voice comes out of the bathroom stall calling Yang Shi a pervert and questioning his actions, but Yang Shi is so not about to fall for the same truck twice, so he kicks the door down, making it clear that if he is not coming out, he is coming in. As he opens the door, he sees the stranger who is raising an alarm to cover up his tracks, and Yang Shi recognizes the thief's ability as special as it even changes his voice. The stranger begs Yang Shi to spare his life, saying this is his first time pulling this stunt, and our MC is a bit disgusted that he cannot change his figure and look. The stranger is depressed, lamenting about his terrible luck. Then he transforms the lady's bag back into Yang Shi's bag and gives it to him, offering to return it, and explaining to him that everything is still inside. Yang Shi asks him if he opened it, and he swears that he did no such thing, so Yang Shi advises him to find a proper job and live a normal life. The stranger thanks him for sparing his life and promises not to steal again. Yang Shi is confused, as there was never a time he said that he was going to let him off the hook, and then proceeds to blast him with a mental blast. Yang Shi remembers his decision not to steal abilities anymore for the time being, but then this unfortunate thief's ability basically just fell onto his lap, and it will be such a waste not to take it. After he touches the stranger and takes the ability, the system recognizes the ability taken from the stranger as an F-rank ability called Costume Change. All you have to do is think about the costume, and the power grants the ability to instantly change into it, and it also works as a storage space. As Yang Shi exits the public restroom, he changes into a dashing black suit and corporate wear with a blue tie, and he notes how convenient this ability actually is. Then he is met by two policemen who ask him about the incident in the female bathroom, as they got a report about females screaming that there was a pervert close by. He reveals to them that he saw a male pervert wearing women's costume walking sneakily into the female toilet, so the police instantly take action and apprehend the stranger from the toilet. This incident only reaffirms his belief that some ability users are not fit to own abilities, and he swears once again to change this world. A week later, Yang Shi meets up with Fan Peng outside a bar, and his chubby friend is happy that Yang Shi came, but Yang Shi is not that pumped, so the feeling is not mutual. He begins questioning why he told him to come out here, but Fan Peng totally ignores the question, instead asking him to guess who he met when he was playing at the bar. Yang Shi cannot answer, so Fan Peng tells him anyway that it was his girlfriend Lin Nai Shui, then emphasizes that she was a bar girl. Yang Shi reminds him that she is not his girlfriend, and he has no idea why he is even telling him this. Fan Peng tells him not to act in front of him and assures him that he will believe once he sees it with his own eyes. Fan Peng then shows him a place for them to sit, and Lin Nai Shui sees Yang Shi and Fan Peng and is very shocked and surprised to see them, wondering what in the world they could possibly be doing here. Fan Peng tries to cheer him up and lifts his spirits, especially because girls are everywhere, and he also makes it clear that this is his territory, so Yang Shi has to follow his instructions in order for them to enjoy themselves. Fan Peng calls over a group of lovely ladies that politely greet them, Then he proceeds to introduce them as Chi-Chi, Tian-Tian, Pao-Pao, and then introduces his friend Yang Shi, asking them if he is handsome. The girls immediately wrap themselves around Yang Shi, glazing him and calling him handsome, then asking him to drink with them, and pushing Fan Peng away. At the door next to them, there are two guys having a conversation, and the first guy has two girls on the ropes and explains how unlucky he is today, and laments that if his McLaren car hadn't got driven away by his brother, then he wouldn't have lost to that Gao Zheng kid. The second guy, Lia Huo, who has a single girl on the ropes, tells him to relax as it was just a racing battle, of which he lost, so he should not blame it on the car. The first guy laughs very hard since he is quite drunk now, and his name is Lin Yuan. He then asks Li Huo if he can work as his bodyguard for only him and not for his dad, but Li Huo does not reply to this statement. Lin Yuan then asks him why he is suddenly so quiet, so Li Huo then tells him that it must be hard for a normal person like him being restricted by a C-rank hero like him every day. Lin Yuan releases a sigh of disdain, and then proceeds to slap Lin Naixue, dissing her and calling her wine trash, informing her that the wine is not even worth being drunk by him, so he proceeds to pour the wine on her body from her head. Yang Xi has the urge to go help Lin Naixue, but is held back by Fan Peng, who explains that Lin Yuan is the second son of an A-rank hero named Jixie Zhangxiong, and is accompanied by Lia Huo, who is a C-rank hero. A normal person like him does not stand a chance, so this wasn't really a time to be a MC knight in shining armor. Yang Xi then proceeds to leave the room and head towards the toilet, and Lin Yuan, being so nasty and disrespectful, tells her that she knows the apologizing rule to drink all the bottles on the table so as to be forgiven. They begin to choke her with the bottles of beer, forcing her to drink. Yang Xi then reappears, but this time in his black cloak and his bird mask, to save her from the person forcing her to drink the beer. He then asks them if the young master is Jixie Zhangxiong's son, and Lia Huo replies by asking who he is, and Lin Yuan assumes while heavily under the influence that it must be a stupid idiot trying to cause trouble. Yang Xi proceeds to sit down, revealing that he actually wants to do a trade with Liu Yuan. Liu Yuan inquires as to what kind of trade, but Li Huo senses something off and advises Liu Yuan that it is quite late and they should return. But Liu Yuan, being a drunk, stubborn, and spoilt child, tells Li Huo to not order him around and get lost because he is obviously trying to do important business here. Li Huo lets out a sigh of disdain because there is really nothing more he can do. Liu Yuan begins to bargain with Yang Xi, asking him if he seriously wants to trade with him. Li Huo advises Liu Yuan yet again, but this time holding him back and telling him to sit down, reminding him of his intoxicated state, then promising to handle the mysterious character himself. Yang Xi asks him if he wants to start a fight, and usually he discourages violence, but if the bodyguard insists on getting in his way to prevent him from talking to his master, then he will have no choice but to beat him senseless. Li Huo doesn't back down from the challenge and tells him go. Li Huo's flame fists are up and ready for combat, and he informs Yang Xi that it is his unlucky day as he just pissed off the wrong person. Yang Xi recognizes this ability as a C-rank fire element, and the spectators of this fight think that Yang Xi is very brave to provoke an A-rank hero's disciple. Sister Ci helps Lin Naixue to get to a place to rest, and she thanks her for her help, and Sister Ci would want to know why the two men were even fighting in the first place. One of the spectators asks why his mask looks like a bird, which is very mysterious, and they wonder if he can actually beat Lie Huo. Lie Huo rushes him almost instantly with an attack, but he does not even flinch and dodges at close range, disappointed if this is really all a X rank could do. Lie Huo calls him naive and begins to explain that ever since he became a hero, no monster or enemy could handle his skills. Lie Huo proceeds to release a burning flame on Yang Xi, and spectators are sure that Li Huo is burning him to death. But after some seconds, Yang Xi casually stretches out his hands and extinguishes the flame surprisingly easily. Yang Xi proceeds to land an attack of his own and hits him with a mental blast, and then as Lie Huo is about to fall to the ground, he hits him with his bare hands, making it look like Lie Huo was defeated with his bare hands instead. Liu Yuan is so surprised at how strong Yang Xi is being able to beat Lie Huo with a single chop, and Yang Xi bends down and touches unconscious Lie Huo in order to steal his ability. The ability of Lie Huo is a C-rank ability called Fire Fist, which grants the user the power to generate flames on the fists and attack using flames. And honestly, this skill might just be more useful to cooks. Liu Yuan looks around and notices that all his other bodyguards ran for their lives faster than a heartbeat. Lie Huo then proceeds to continue the negotiations with Yang Xi from where they stopped before the rude interruptions, asking him what the trade was he wanted to talk about. He also asks him how much he wants, so he will transfer it to him now. But Yang Shi ignores what he says and grabs him by the shirt. One obviously no longer interested in any trade. He then resorts to threatening Yang Shi with who his dad is. Yang Shi squashes the thought and says, what if his dad is Ji Xiong? But Liu Yuan still threatens, saying that his dad will never let it go. Yang Shi does not really give a horse's behind about that, and instead whispers to him, telling him he will not kill him but wants to know if he is serious about the trade. So Liu Yuan tells Yang Shi to tell him what it is. Yang Shi asks him if he wishes to have an ability, and Liu Yuan is so surprised and stutters as he struggles to come to terms with what our MC just said. Yang Shi lets go of Liu Yuan by the throat, and Liu Yuan asks him if he thinks he is God who can give whatever he wants. Yang Shi begins to walk away from him and throws a piece of paper, saying if he is serious about the trade, then he should meet him at the address on the paper. Yang Shi is on call with Fan Peng, who was worried as he was stuck on a toilet bowl since he was not answering his calls. Yang Shi explains that it was noisy, so he came out to take some fresh air. He is also curious as to why Fan Peng was so worried, and Fan Peng explains to him that he missed a show and will explain it over some barbecue, of which Yang Shi agrees to. Yang Shi thinks to himself that the plan is proceeding smoothly. Now all that is left is for Liu Yuan to take the bait. Even the Kunlun Heroes Company should be having a meeting soon enough. Fei Fei Wei will find out about the truth. Ji Xiong asks the directors in the room after seeing this about their thoughts, and Bing Chuan Warrior states that if the masked man used a chop to defeat Li Huo, then his combat ability must be B rank or even higher. Wander Swordsman doesn't believe that Li Huo was defeated by a chop and reveals the moment the masked man lifted his hand, Li Huo was already down for the count, which doesn't make sense. Demon Dragon asked for the analysis of Li Huo's injury last night only to be surprised and proclaim it impossible that Li Huo's ability is gone. Ji Xiong further intensifies it, saying they have a big problem coming up. Wander Swordsman then asks who he is, and how he can remove other people's abilities. Demon Dragon replies that from his knowledge, the only S-rank hero with such ability is hero Xiongbai Du Ren, but Ji Xiong claps back asking him if he is sure it is Du Ren. Bing Chuan Warrior can't believe that it is Du Ren, especially when he is an old man who is practically knocking at death's door at this point, so it is not possible he would be there at this time. Demon Dragon advises Ji Xiong that this is not something they can handle and suggests that they report it to the Hero Association. Wander Swordsman also drops his initiative, saying this kind of special ability user, no matter what company he works for, could be their secret weapon. So he suggests that they try to recruit him and not report him. Ji Xiong tells all the directors to keep quiet about it, making it the company's rank 1 secret, and tells them to take their leave so he can have thinking space. Back to a now sober Liu Yuan, he is having an inner conflict about the deal our MC told him about earlier and contemplates whether he can actually trust what Yang Yi proposed. He lets out a sigh of relief and locks in, deciding not to care too much about the whole issue, as he'll be getting the ability in a few days anyway. Fan Peng and Yang Shi go sightseeing for a bit, and Fan Peng has to ask why they came to a museum all of a sudden. Yang Shi explains that he just wants to know more about monsters, so as to have a higher chance of escaping when he sees them, but he has the intention to steal an S-rank monster's skill. But Fan Peng casually mocks Yang Shi that he did not come here to see monsters, but to flirt with girls, emphasizing the fact that girls that come to museums are all pretty. But Yang Shi tells him he came to see something else, which is something called a plasma tyrannosaurus, a S-rank monster, 7 meters in height and 12 meters in length. The monster appeared during the earlier invasions and has the ability to shoot plasma from its mouth, which was a big pain back in the day. It caused great damage to Luhuan City, making the whole city unable to operate. And during the battle, 5 A-rank heroes, 23 B-rank heroes, and 27 C-rank heroes were all sent to early graves. Yang Shi is conversing with Fan Peng about writing an article regarding monster invasions, and Fan Peng is so astonished by it, admiring the super strength. Yang Shi wonders if he could maybe steal this scary ability, so he stretches his hand to touch it. But as he does that, a guardsman comes out of nowhere to question him like there's a secret alarm that went off somewhere and alerted him. Yang Shi immediately greets him, explaining to the man that he is a reporter and reveals that he just wants to write an article regarding the monster invasion. The guardsman warns him to only see it and write it and not touch it, but Yang Shi communicates with Fan Peng with his eyes to distract him. Fan Peng understands immediately and proceeds to distract the guardsman, apologizing to him, then asking him random questions like where he can find the pretty girl mutated beast. The guardsman is confused, asking him what he is talking about and wondering if he is some crazy weirdo. He affirms it, saying that kind that is not normal is a weird one. While the guard is distracted by Fan Ping, Yang Shi proceeds to touch it and steals the ability. He can immediately feel the ability, but it takes so much strength to steal it, and on forming the marble-like object, he is left shocked. The system message pops up as usual, informing him about the stolen ability Plasma Blast that grants its user the power to create plasmas, which should have been a sick ability, but can only be used to charge a phone in the least. Yang Shi is in utter disbelief, seeing that this ability he got from an S-rank monster is this weak, but he then realizes that the power decreases gradually, since it has been dead for many years. Yang Shi also affirms his suspicion of this because when he stole the ability of the one-eyed jellyfish clone, it was still in its current state and therefore he got the ability still fresh and new. Yang Shi begins to steal as many of the monster's abilities around so as to achieve something today and not have his time coming all the way to a freaking museum be a waste. But at the end of the day, it turns out to really be a waste as he only ends up obtaining 3 low-level abilities. The system recognizes the abilities as a F-rank ability called Clone, which can create a clone that lasts for 1 minute, which is next to useless apart from letting clones switch on the light. Then there is the E-rank ability Plasma Blast from before, that can create plasmas, but can only be used as a spare phone charger, then an F-rank called Control, that basically makes people like you more, so it's no more better can let someone's favorability towards you increase, and its usefulness is only limited to doing lewd stuff. Yang Shi is pissed at how low the abilities are, but then he has the bright idea to try separating the abilities since he already knows that they can be combined. He tries out this new discovery with Liehuo's ability, trying to dismantle it, but it does not work the first time, but the second time is the charm, as when he tries it again it completely dismantles and forms new materials. Level 1. Dark Power, Foundation Materials, Perfect Square, Tough and Strong Item. Yang Shi wonders if abilities can be formed from small cubes of dark power, but affirms that he can dismantle and separate an ability orb, and abilities can be dismantled into the lowest dark power. Yang Shi wonders if he could use these dark powers to fuse them and boost the ability, so he runs the experiment with an ability orb, and fortunately, the ability increases, making the experiment a success. An impromptu from the system shows the E-rank ability called Control has been increased, and it now allows you to subconsciously insinuate a target. Yang Shi is astonished by this research, and thinks with this, he could be able to create S-rank skills. A scream coming from the living room where Yang Shi lives interrupts him, so he begins to wonder if Liu Yuan came to look for Lin Nai Shui. Lin Nai Shui is crying a river, and her pops does not even care. Instead of comforting her, he tells her that all she does is cry, like that is all she is good at, and explains they did not mean to lie to her. Yang Shi enters the living room quietly, but the dad does not notice, and continues telling her that they had been sincere with her, she would not have sent money willingly. The mother also emphasizes that her brother needs to buy a house, buy a car, and get a wife, and the total is up to or even more than millions, and asks her how they will be able to afford so much money. Lin Nai Shui is still crying, explaining that they lied to her, telling her that her dad had cancer and needed money for treatment. She emphasizes to them how depressed she was and what she had to go through to make the money to send to them. Lin Nai Shui is crying and sobbing as she explains to them that she had to work 4 part-time jobs day and night. The father, still feeling all high and mighty, explains that he just wanted to see how much she could make, and afterwards he would have found a way to complete it. He does not even care about Lin Nai Shui, he only cares about preserving the bloodline. Lin Nai Shui claps back, asking if they were to try to get the remaining money, whether it was by selling her off to an unknown stranger. The mother tries to convince her that this man is a very good man, and he may not have high education stats, but he is a man with values, and she promises that they will not let her suffer. Lin Nai Shui shouts and sobs at her parents, asking them where they thought the money came from. She then proceeds to tell them that she accompanies people to drink, and that is how she makes money. The dad and her mom are surprised, looking at her in astonishment and awe. The dad breaks the silence, calling her shameless for ruining their family's reputation, and threatens to beat her to death. But Lin Nai Shui is willing to take the beating head on, knowing fully well that customers hit way harder than her dad, and she actually lets him know. Fortunately, the slap is stopped mid-air by Yang Shi, pointing out that she is still his daughter, but Lin Nai Shui's dad claps back, telling him not to butt in when he wants to teach his own daughter a lesson, and also threatens to teach him a lesson too. Yang Shi realizes that Lin Nai Shui's dad does not even feel guilty, but the mom regrets doing that, so he will hint her so he can help Lin Nai Shui. He proceeds to use the C-rank ability Control, and a message from the system confirms this. Lin Naiju's mom instantly gets a backbone and slaps the husband across the face, telling him that things had gone quite far enough, further elaborating on the fact that his own daughter made money by accompanying others to drink, questioning if his heart is made of stone. The mom proceeds to hug Lin Naishui, telling her she was at fault and confirming she will always be her daughter. Lin Naishui is still crying a river as they hug, and they have a genuine moment right there. The dad supposedly comes back to his senses, letting out a sigh of disappointment and telling Lin Naishui that he will allow her brother to get the money by himself. Yang Shi is glad that they realized they were wrong in time and wonders who in this life does not love their loved ones. In the morning at a train station, Lin Naishui waves happily to her mom, promising that she will come to visit them during the new year. The mom, whose head is sticking out of the train, agrees to this and tells her to take care of herself and not do stupid things. She then turns around to Yang Shi, who escorts her, and she thanks him for accompanying her to send her parents off, and he advises them to head back. Yang Shi then says that he hopes the brother will grow up and learn to be responsible. That way it will be more effective than any amount of money she will send back. Lin Naishui tells Yang Shi to come closer so that she can tell him a secret. Yang Shi is surprised at first, then confused as he comes closer. When he gets close enough, Lin Naishui leans into his ear, kisses him on the cheek and whispers to him, thanking him for helping her twice. Yang Shi at night is thinking of sneaking into a monster corpse handling center. He applauds them for their fortified security, but also reassures himself that it is a place that stores a large amount of monster corpses, so it will be a convenient place to obtain different kinds of abilities. Yang Shi confirms the situation that he can only sneak in through special methods. Yang Shi proceeds to jump onto a moving truck of the company, only to coincidentally meet a girl who is also hanging onto the truck. He tries to talk the first time, but the girl tells him to keep quiet. Yang Shi also thinks to himself if the girl also wants to sneak into the monster corpse handling center. He is very much surprised that it is a girl. The girl seems to be liking the attention. Calm your horses, girl. Bro does not even know you, and you cannot see his face. Yang Shi breaks the ice, saying it is nice to meet her, and also butters it, telling her what a coincidence it is. The girl is not too happy, explaining how unlucky she is in this situation, and mocks Yang Shi's coincidence theory. She also emphasizes that Yang Shi knows the rules of how they obtain things with their power. She proceeds to introduce herself and her guild, Fanhai Guild, by name Qianduoduo, and asks Yang Shi what his name is. Yang Shi proceeds to make up an identity known as UG. Qianduoduo points out that they will soon arrive at the drop-off area, and she cannot get off with him being in front of her, but Yang Shi tells her to hug him tight as he jumps off the truck with Qianduoduo. As they stumble onto the ground, Yang Shi asks how long Qianduoduo plans on hugging him. Qianduoduo flames up, saying she had no choice, and squashes the thought of hugging Yang Shi. As they walk through the facility, Qianduoduo notices something is off from Yang Shi and begins to question him why he looks like someone who has not seen big things before, and proceeds to guess that he is a newbie. Yang Shi replies that indeed he is, and urges her to take care of him. Qianduoduo begins to act all high and mighty. Since Yang Shi is so sincere, she will let him follow behind her. Qianduoduo then proceeds to explain that her boss told her to bring the white wolf's chest hair. She emphasizes that things like this need to be cut carefully. Qianduoduo instantly summons a chest-like bag, then proceeds to glaze and explain that her ability is an inventory bag, saying that the item can hold many things, asking Yang Shi if it is impressive. Yang Shi does not reply to that. He only thinks what a pity he cannot steal this space ability. She then urges Yang Shi to head to the next room, but Yang Shi sneakily touches the monster and steals an ability. The system impromptu message appears: D rank ability, metallic transformation, can freely change metal items shape, can open a car repair store. Qianduoduo instantly shouts, scaring Yang Shi because the security alarm goes off. They think they have been discovered. A random doctor runs into the room in utter fear, screaming on top of his voice that a monster revived. Qianduoduo and Yang Shi are shocked as almost instantly a tentacle pulls him out of the room. He is begging for someone to save him. Qianduoduo is frozen by fear as her legs can't move, telling Yang Shi to hold her even if it's for a while, and the monster instantly grabs her as well. Yang Shi tries to use flame, but it doesn't work, and then Qianduoduo shouts for Yang Shi to help her. As Yang Shi chases after the tentacle holding Qianduoduo, he has the thought to use the new ability he just got from the monster, D rank attribute, metallic transformation. The system impromptu message pops up as he uses the ability to form metal-piercing tentacles. He successfully cuts the tentacle holding Qianduoduo, then rushes over asking if she is okay. Qianduoduo emphasizes that the hand is very strong and that it even hurt her, and she questions what type of monster it is and how it revived. Yang Shi informs her they will know when they see it. Some people who have already been abducted are screaming for help, but the monster doesn't let up and attacks Yang Shi and Qianduoduo again. But this time, Yang Shi creates a shield to defend himself and Qianduoduo. Qianduoduo warns Yang Shi that the shield is getting smaller and he should think of something quickly. Yang Shi totally ignores her, so she begins talking about how doomed they are and how she's going to become Monster Chow soon enough. Yang Shi realizes that what he is doing now is of no use, but then he remembers he saw some fuel tanks. He then assures Qianduoduo that he will protect her and proceeds to use his metallic transformation ability to throw several gallons of fuel in the direction of the monster, then uses his flame ability as the catalyst to make the fuel gallons explode, not only allowing them to escape but also freeing all the people it captured. But this monster is definitely in love with Qianduoduo, because it won't just let her catch a break. It stretches a tentacle to attack her, but the tentacle is cut before it reaches her, only to reveal a man standing in front of them with a sword in tow, blaming Qianduoduo and Yang Shi for reviving the monster and calling them thieves. Qianduoduo begins to question who the man that just appeared is and asks him why he is spouting such nonsense when he knows nothing. Duan Shu claps back, calling her disrespectful and telling her that while Duan Shu was traveling around the world, she was still sucking her mama's milkers. Qianduoduo solidifies her claim, saying he does not deserve her respect. Yang Shi recognizes him but remembers that Duan Shu a few years ago soloed an A-rank mutated berserk ape. Yang Shi then calls Duan Shu Duan Senior because of his respect. Duan Shu chuckles a little, pleased that Yang Shi is respectful at the least, but promises to deal with them later after he takes down the monster. Yang Shi is confused as to how an A-rank hero appeared here at a monster corpse handling center, and Duan Shu leaps into the air and launches his first attack, which is the Northern Sword First Style Greedy Wolf Slash. Yang Shi is astonished by it, noting that the Northern Sword skill is usually passed down. He also reveals that each skill is destructive and strong, so much that even an S-rank hero can barely dodge it, and Qianduoduo thinks it's cool. The monster attacks the second time after supposedly tanking the first one, but Duan Shu is locked in, launching his second attack, Northern Sword Style Dimensity Slash. After he chops up all the tentacles, he attacks again with Whirlwind Wave Slash. Duan Shu lands with the purpose of aura farming as much as possible, as he is about to pick a fight with the MC after all. Duan Shu informs them that now he has defeated the monster, it's their turn. Yang Shi is still very surprised at his quick double eye slash, but Yang Shi tries to explain to Duan Shu that they did not revive the monster. Duan Shu tells Yang Shi to stop lying, saying they look suspicious. Qianduoduo wonders if Yang Shi can really beat the old man, but Yang Shi claps back, asking her if she is going to step in if he loses. Qianduoduo turns down the offer, but offers to lend him a useful piece of equipment instead. Qianduoduo emphasizes more that the armor is B-rank monster material and it will be able to help him. Qianduoduo bids him good luck, takes her ultra-fast steps, and moves out of his way, and Yang Shi feels like her personality is similar to his sister. Duan Shu, without holding back or a moment of hesitation, attacks, but thanks to the armor Qianduoduo gave, Yang Shi is not injured. Yang Shi is surprised that the armor blocked Duan Shu's attack, so Yang Shi deems it useful. Duan Shu is not letting up. He launches attack after attack, but Yang Shi uses his Superbrain and observes the lightning-fast movements of Duan Shu. Even though his senses have increased and the attacks seem slower, he knows it won't be enough to defeat him. Duan Shu sees an opening and decides to take it, and Yang Shi realizes that he can't dodge in time, so he uses his next ability, Control. Duan Shu's movement, even though for a brief moment, is restricted by Yang Shi, and Duan Shu acknowledges and affirms that he restricted his movement. Yang Shi bluntly reveals that if he couldn't, then he would be in danger. Duan Shu acknowledges his skills, calling them mere tricks that thieves like him could amount to, as he rushes towards Yang Shi to attack. Yang Shi proceeds to create a metal-like sword with his metal transformation ability to clash swords with Duan Shu. Yang Shi notes that every style is strong, so his control can only restrict him sometimes so he won't get hit. The spectators of this fight are astonished by how much Yang Shi can keep up with Duan Shu, and they begin to ask themselves if he is Area 6th, a rank hero called God Spear, and Yang Shi overhears them and wonders who this God Spear dude is. Duan Shu sees that Yang Shi's movement is not that of a thief and stops fighting. Then he commands all the spectators to leave the room at once, saying he wants to say something to Yang Shi. They hesitate, but immediately after he affirms his position as the central director, they leave, and so does Qianduoduo, promising to wait for Yang Shi outside. Yang Shi, confused, questions why Duan Shuiliu wants to speak to him privately. Duan Shuiliu clears the doubt in his mind that Yang Shi is not God's spear, and that his sword skills are nowhere near God's spears. But what is similar is the ability to control metal, the metal attribute. Duan Shuiliu also acknowledges the fact that he has different abilities, and he should be someone strong, also affirms that he didn't come here to steal some monster's white fur, so he questions if he came here to pursue the world's truth. Yang Shi doesn't know what Duan Shuiliu is talking about, but he wants to know what he is talking about. So he lies that he wants to know about the world's truth. Duan Shuiliu laughs it off, lamenting about how passionate young people are, and begins to explain the real motive of the Monster Handling Center is to open the monster world's gateway, White Cavity. Yang Shi is very surprised at what he is hearing, but Duan Shuiliu begins to tell Yang Shi of an incident 15 years ago, of how a White Cavity was successfully opened in Wrong City. The Hero Association sent a top-notch hero squad to the monster world with special responsibility and mission, and he was one of them. He further explains that during the mission, countless S-rank heroes died, and they risked their lives to protect him and 2 others so they could return to the Azure world. He further reveals that every monster dangling center is built on the Azure world's space weakness area. All they have to do is keep burning monster corpses, and there might be a chance to open the White Cavity that leads to the monster world. Yang Shi then questions him about the revived monster, so Duan Shuiliu reveals that not even they know the details about the monster's revival, but it is said that they revive because the White Cavity passed by, thereby causing them to mutate. In the Azure world, humans are trapped by monsters and treated like cattle, and only when they gather strong heroes do they stand a chance of winning. Duan Shuiliu tells him he can leave and lets him know whatever organization or guild Yang Shi is from, they are still humans. A brown-haired woman talks about Duan Shuiliu and how he likes to cause trouble and pissed that he told outsiders about the matter in question. But an old man sitting next to the woman explains that even if Duan Shuiliu doesn't say anything, other things organizations will still find out about it. He then explains that in their current state, they cannot take over that world, and the woman reveals the video that was sent to the headquarters was sent by her. A dark figure in a conference call states her claim, saying that over 25 seats are present and already have S-rank matters voting condition. She then emphasizes that Lugang City will report the condition. They proceed to start the meeting on whether or not to bring White Cavity to A rank and above organization. Yang Shi goes to visit his sister Fei Fei to tell her about a cruel truth he learned the previous night. Turns out that night, after Duan Shuiliu had left, Yang Shi walked out of the building, and the spectators who had been asked to wait outside by Duan Shuiliu asked themselves why only Yang Shi came out. They wanted to know what had happened inside and if Yang Shi had defeated Duan Shuiliu. Yang Shi walked over to Qianduoduo, and Qianduoduo asked him if he was all right. He remained silent because he knew that he could not let outsiders know about his ability. Yang Shi then replied to Qianduoduo, telling her he was fine, and told her to look into his eyes. Qianduoduo was confused as to why, but she looked anyway. Almost instantly, Yang Shi used his skill control and began to manipulate Qianduoduo, her new and old memories, telling her to forget about his abilities, the flame and gold ability, and to remember that Yang Shi had bought from her the B-rank armor and was still owing her $10,000. As soon as he snapped her out of it, she began to run home, blabbering words like it was fine, he was okay, and that her house had a door restriction, and said they would see each other next time. Back to the present Yang Shi, with saying that Qianduoduo is just like her, loves money and acts cute. Yang Shi establishes that before he takes revenge, he will find ways to wake her up. Back at home, Yang Shi creates a ring which he calls the Sucking Star Ring and an ability medicine which he decides to use to deceive outsiders so as not to know about his abilities, and also to lie to Liu Yuan. He creates a new persona snake. He uses his skill costume change to transform into this new persona, giving him the ability of Plasma Blast and Flame when needed, and also reveals his plan to create an organization with countless personas of him, and decides to call this organization Judge, since his only motivation is to judge those who aren't worthy to be a hero, and the organization's higher fee will be paid by Liu Yang Master. Yang Shi meets up with Liu Yuan, who he had asked to meet the week after to execute the trade. On getting there, Yang Shi tries to wake Liu Yuan up, but Liu Yuan is fast asleep. When Yang Shi tries harder, Liu Yuan wakes up angry and pissed off, threatening to off the person disturbing his sleep, till his eyes open fully to see that it's Yang Shi. He begins to apologize that he just woke up. Yang Shi tells Liu Yuan that he is happy he came and it seems like he trusted him. Liu Yuan begins to promise Yang Shi that if he gives him the ability, he will solidify the trade by giving him whatever he wants: money, girls, authority. But Yang Shi tells him that he doesn't need those things, and tells him to look into his eyes, emphasizing that gaining an ability is easy. Almost instantly, Yang Shi uses his ability control, and begins to question Liu Yuan, asking for information about the blue drug. But he gets no response, so he thinks to himself that it's failing. He even commands him to slap himself, and Liu Yuan still doesn't respond. Yang Shi then thinks to himself, if the question must be conceived first, or if Liu Yuan has an ability. If he did, the ability would be C rank or higher, so control is ineffective. Yang Shi proceeds to hit him with a mental blast, but is still reasoning to himself that Liu Yuan didn't fight back when Yang Shi was bullying him at the bar, so he doubts he has an ability, but he is curious to find out, so he touches him, and to his marvelous surprise, he has one. The system in prompt shows a rank ability, reborn, only once after dying, returns to a day before death, will be useful only if you die. How the hell does an NPC have such a goated ability? He can't fight with it, but still having a second chance at life is fire. Yang Shi is still surprised about the fact that Liu Yuan has an ability, being A rank at that, calling the ability a trump card. He also promises to not treat Liu Yuan badly after receiving his ability, then proceeds to give Liu Yuan an ability he stole from the Monster Handling Center. The instant Yang Shi said, "Wake up," Liu Yuan was up and active, begging Yang Shi to give him an ability, though he questioned why he was asleep. Yang Shi sympathizes with him, telling him it's good to sleep when you're tired, telling him to look at a ring. Liu Yuan is keen on looking at the ring. Yang Shi then explains to him that the ring is what the organization created to steal abilities, calling it the star-sucking ring. Liu Yuan is so pumped by this, he asks him after the ring what's next. Yang Shi also explains to him that the organization uses special methods to allow even normal persons to gain abilities. Calling it the ability medicine, Liu Yuan praises Yang Shi, but is still skeptical about it, asking him if he is lying or not. Yang Shi doesn't squash his suspicion. Instead, he tells him to drink and find out if he is lying or not. Liu Yuan hesitates, thinking to himself if it's poison or not, but he affirms that if he wanted to kill him, he would have done it, but he squashes all the thoughts in his mind and drinks it. Liu Yuan screams in pain, but Yang Shi lets out a deceitful laugh and says that he will make him know what it feels like to own an awesome ability. Liu Yuan complains about his body being hot, but Yang Shi knows that what he gave Liu Yuan to drink is completely unrelated to what is happening to him now, and he even goes a step further to say that he is controlling the ability orb to make it activate. Liu Yuan fully transforms and is surprised as hell at his amazing new form, and Yang Shi then proceeds to name his ability, Bloodline Type, Body Wolfman Transformation. Yang Shi then asks Liu Yuan how he feels. Liu Yuan is so astonished by his new ability that he begins to question if he is the one or not, even comparing himself to his brother who could transform into a demon dragon. But the million-dollar question is if he is stronger or weaker than him. Yang Shi bursts his bubble, telling him and then reminding him the brother is an A rank and he is only an E rank. Liu Yuan is surprised at the rank gap, calling it a 3-rank gap between A and E. Yang Shi explains that Liu Kang just joined the organization. Normally they only give out F-rank ability medicine. Yang Shi pauses and takes a look at Liu Yuan, who is now a wolfman, and calls him cute, similar to a husky. But he is right. Why does Liu Yuan look so cute? Yang Shi continues his explanation, saying that because of his reputation he was able to get the E rank. Liu Yuan, who quietly listened to the explanation, draws a conclusion that they have all the ranks of abilities, and that one day he might be stronger than Jisiejiang Xiong, his dad. Liu Yuan begins to beg again, but this time calls Yang Shi his dad to know if he can change it to an A rank ability. But Yang Shi shuts him down, telling him not to call people his dad. But Liu Yuan insists on calling Yang Shi his godfather, since no one has treated him as kindly as him before, ever even. Yang Shi tells him that begging won't change anything, that the organization has its rules and regulations. The only way to move up in rank is to accumulate sufficient achievements and credits. Liu Yuan asks Yang Shi what their organization does. Yang Shi begins to explain that their organization's name is Judge, and it was founded by a strong lord. This lord has 12 managers under him, the 12 Chinese zodiac, and he is one of them. Yuji? Liu Yuan questions the fact that if someone as strong as Yang Shi is a manager, how about the boss? Yang Shi discourages Liu Yuan to randomly guess, because the lord doesn't reveal himself, calling him mysterious. Liu Yuan questions Yang Shi, asking him the quickest way to get credit, and Yang Shi replies to him by completing missions the organization gives to him. Now on that note, Yang Shi decides to pass a mission to him by said organization. Yang Shi explains to him that he will use his identity as Kunlun's company young master to find information about the blue pill. Liu Yuan doesn't even know what it is, Yang Shi proceeds to elaborate, saying that it's a drug used to strengthen abilities, that he even came to Lu Gang to find out the people behind this item. Liu Yuan is astonished by such a drug, calling it a good thing. Yang Shi abolishes the idea in Liu Yuan's head, telling him that a hero has used it to accidentally harm innocent citizens. Liu Yuan questions Yang Shi, asking who accidentally harmed innocent citizens. Yang Shi answers, telling him it was his company's A-rank hero Bing Chuan. Liu Yuan claps back, saying that Bing Chuan usually acts arrogant, but in secret he is just trash that uses pills. Yang Shi reaffirms the deal, saying that if he investigates and comes up with reasonable information, they will meet at the same location, and Yang Shi will give Liu Yuan the D-rank ability medicine. Liu Yuan obviously agrees to this. As Yang Shi is about to leave, he tells him that the ability he has will only last a week, so he must complete the task in a week before the ability fades. Liu Yuan is even more shocked at this news. Yang Shi is walking down a road with a cup of coffee in his hand, and then he spots a poster of himself on a shop, and it makes him choke on his coffee and pour a mouthful on it. The owner of the shop is pissed at the attitude of Yang Shi pouring coffee on the wall of his shop, so Yang Shi apologizes dearly for it as he carries the paper. He releases a sigh of discomfort, not expecting that Qian Duo would do something like this. And speaking of the devil, as he continues his walk down the same path, he sees her and some other people who cut into a corner of the street. Yang Shi is surprised at seeing her and sneakily follows behind them, and Qian Duo aggressively questions what the people following her want. A guy with purple hair implores her to be obedient and hand over their master's sword back to them, but Qian Duo denies knowing what they are talking about or having any involvement with any sword, and she even adds she doesn't even have a single penny on her. So the guy with the purple hair and another guy with the ninja cosplay going on stand their ground, saying she used a fake orb to trade them for the demon blade Muramasa, and they believed her because she was young and innocent. And now they begin to threaten her, saying if she doesn't give it back, they will off her. Yang Shi, who is still hiding, recalls the name of the sword, knowing fully well it's a legendary S-rank monster-made weapon. He still finds it hard to believe that Qian Duo is with such a blade, and Qian Duo is thinking to herself, surprised at the attention the sword is getting, and finally understanding that it's a really good thing. She denies again, stating that they are trying to frame her, and denies further, claiming not to even know the name of the sword, and suggesting that they must have mistaken her for another person. Yang Shi, who is still hidden, sees through her lie almost instantly and states anyone with an eye can tell she's greedy and doesn't want to return the sword. Another girl who is with the two guys instructs them to attack her, so both the guy with purple hair and the guy in ninja clothing proceed to use their special attacks. Yang Shi is surprised at the fact that the two guys are successor ability users, and they are also above C rank. Qian Duo pulls out a B rank weapon named Scythe Weasel Fan from her pocket space, informing them that she is not weak, then proceeds to use it to blow them away. Qian Duo, acting all high and mighty, joyfully claps back as she escapes, saying that she will not return what she has obtained. And the girl who was with the two guys finally gets pissed off and uses her ability, an A-rank ability called Snow Queen. Qian Duo is surprised when she sees snow start falling so suddenly, and Yang Shi notices the situation is spiraling out of control and transforms into one of his persona, UG. But the Snow Queen follows behind Qian Duo, who is escaping through the air, and attacks her with a blizzard tornado. Yang Shi then yells intensely out to Duo.